Alright guys, just a little update on the GHK. In my last video, like I said, it had been very reliable so far, but I also said that my older mags versus the new mag would not for some reason function this, kept getting a whole bunch of random double feeds. I eventually did get the feed lips in. They're these new aluminum feed lips. They match the height of the new style mags. Got them all in there. They did require some work. These apparently were generation 1 mags, not even generation 2, so I did have to use a Dremel tool and some other stuff to get them in there. After I got it all done, came out here to the garage, they still didn't work. They still jammed almost every single round. Didn't know what it was. These magazines worked fine. All the old magazines didn't work, couldn't figure it out. Eventually, I took this whole gun apart, and it ended up being a problem with the stock bucking chamber. Ended up taking it all apart. For some reason, the bucking was sticking too far out, wasn't correctly placed in the chamber. It also tore the factory bucking on the stock GHK bucking that it had in there. Luckily, I had a extra bucking for the G5. I bought several of that. That had an aftermarket barrel and everything else. Got it changed out, got a new bucking in here, got it set correctly, got the pop-up system all lined up a lot better. And now, as far as I can tell, this is my first time really coming out here and messing with it. Here is the stock mag. See, functions fine. Here's the older mags now with the updated all metal feed lips that originally didn't work, but after changing the bucking out, so everything seems to work fine with them now, which I'm happy about because, like I said, I had 4 of these mags already. They're not the cheapest things ever. I was a little disappointed that they wouldn't work. Thought the feed lips would fix the problem. Once they got changed out, still didn't fix the problem. And it did end up being a problem with the gun. Like people have said, that maybe the quality control has went down a little bit on these. To me, overall, the rifle's still been great. It was really weird that for some reason it wouldn't work with the stock mag, or it would work with the stock mag, but the older mags wouldn't work. So it led me to believe that wasn't a problem with the gun, because the factory mag worked every single time, never had an issue, and no matter what I did with the older G5 mags, it just wouldn't work. So to me, I was like, well, surely it's not the gun. It had to be a magazine problem, something like that. But after changing them, I mean, it still didn't work. And then after seeing that, the problem with the bucking, going through, changing it, it works fine. So I probably didn't need the feed lips. I am glad that I went ahead and got them because, like I said, they are aluminum. I might end up changing that factory mag out also at one point, because I know there's a problem with these feed lips kind of spreading out over time. They'll eventually crack, not hold the BB in the right spot. I've heard of other problems. So far as an update, this rifle has still been really great. The only problem I had was with what I thought was the magazines. Apparently it was not the magazines. Apparently it was the bucking the whole time. But everything seems to function fine. Like I said, now this magazine in, feeds great, no issues whatsoever. Everything seems to be fine. So that's my update for the GHK so far. Still haven't found any major issues. Still functions great. Just apparently the factory bucking was not placed in there correctly, and it was placed in such a way that for some reason it only worked with the mag it came with, but wouldn't work with any other mags. If you're handy, it wasn't that big of a deal. It took me a while to figure it out, just because the oddness that it would work every time with one magazine. But for some reason not work with other mags. It definitely led me to believe it was a magazine problem, considering those were all bought at the same time and were the older style. So that turned out not to be the case so far. I do think it's a great rifle. It's still functioning beautifully with the stock mag, and now finally I do have all 5 mags that do work correctly. I probably didn't have to buy the feed lips. I'm still glad I did, just because I know that they are kind of a known problem. But as far as everything else, it's doing great. Still really like it. Still seems like a pretty accurate rifle. Today was definitely colder. Yesterday was warmer. I didn't have time to go out and take some longer shots. I'm sure if I were to set it up now, I know we got the cold front coming in, that it's not going to go well. It's going to be too cold outside. Even if I were to set up my heating pad and everything like that, I don't think it would give a accurate representation of the long distance performance, because these do, being green gas, after a couple shots, especially if they're cold outside, you're going to have a pressure drop very consistently one after another. So I'll have to wait to do a longer shot, kind of review this. Also, it probably wouldn't have been that good either, because like I said, it did tear the bucking. Since the BB went up underneath the bucking, it folded it up, and in doing that, once I got that bucking removed, it actually had a tear in it, so it probably didn't have the best air seal. Just shooting it since then, I feel like it's been more consistent. It's just as far as the blowback and everything else. So I'm glad I figured out that was the problem. So if you do happen to buy one of these and you do have problems with it double feeding, or not even double feeding, it would just not put the first round up there, that's something I would check. Is go ahead and take the rail off, take the barrel off, check that bucking, make sure it's correctly in the chamber, so it's going to load the BBs right. It's something I just didn't notice, and since it did one magazine, I just figured it was the magazine problem. So that's my update so far. As I put more through this, if I run into any other issues, I'll bring it up and do an update on it. But so far, that's been the only issue I have with it. Everything else has still been really great with it. I'm still very happy with it. Wish I would have figured that out sooner. I probably could have been doing mag change videos and everything else before today, but there was no point, because as soon as you did a mag change, the first round would get jammed. You'd hit the trigger, it would release all the gas in the mag, and then it was over. I think I did post one video of that, where, you know, mag changed over, went back, first round, fired, and then it did that, and I transitioned to the pistol. So I think I've finally gotten everything lined out with it. As far as that goes, we'll see. I'm sure there might be more issues coming up, but I would say at this point I've had probably 100 plus magazines through this. I think I've went through 2,000 BBs or so through it. It's been great. Even with the bucking pad, it did great. It just would only work with that one magazine. I'm actually pretty excited. I figured out that there was those other issues, because now I think the gun is going to function a little bit better. I think it was having gas bleed off and everything else. I'll be able to start having my plate carrier on, actually having extra mags, doing mag changes, and I know it's going to get through the whole magazine. So pretty excited about that. Overall, still really happy with the rifle. I kind of wish that wasn't messed up out of the box. I know somebody who is more of a noob probably wouldn't have been able to figure that out. Me, I didn't even figure it out, just because looking at the chamber, it looked fine, and then it wasn't until the new feed lips didn't feed also, I was like, man, I really got to get to the bottom of this and figure out what the hell is going on. And I really started looking at it, I was like, man, that bucking looked good, because the way the failure happened, once I figured out it wasn't the magazines, I really did some digging into it and was able to figure it out. So overall, still good. If you happen to buy one of these in the future, maybe you have some magazine problems with it, I would definitely check that bucking to make sure that it's back far enough that the BB can go up the feed ramp, because that was the problem. The bucking was barely sticking out over the feed ramp, so that BB would hit that bucking instead of the feed ramp, push up the bucking, get stuck underneath there, and it was, I mean, just looking at it, it didn't look bad until I got it apart, and that was the only thing left it could be. Past that point was the bucking, so I ended up taking the weapon apart. That ended up being it. Luckily, I had a spare bucking. I'm not even sure what brand it is. It's probably a maple leaf, or it's an actual GHK bucking. And when I say GHK, I'm sure it was made somewhere else. That G5 over here, it does have an aftermarket barrel. It has the whole cop up, and it did come with a bucking. And I think I bought a maple leaf bucking for it. And then after that, I just had everything in a parts box over here. So I think the bucking I have in this now is whatever the factory Hulk GHK hop-up unit came with. That one has a maple leaf bucking in it, plus a billet aluminum, or not billet, but CNC or a aftermarket hop-up and a longer barrel. So that one's kind of been tuned up a little bit, and that thing runs flawless. I know in the other review I said it's been relatively reliable. While I was messing with these mags, they still didn't work in this, so I took all 4 mags and dumped all 4 mags through that. Didn't have a single hiccup, didn't have a single failure to feed. It was amazing. You know, honestly, it's been a really good rifle, and like I said, that's why I got in there. GHK is that thing has been fantastic. So that's just kind of a little update on this. I finally did get all the mags working with it, as far as I can tell. No more weird BB issues. So here soon, as the rest of the weekend goes down, I'll probably end up posting some more videos of this. Hopefully have some mag change videos and other things, and you can really see it actually get ran through its paces. I know so far the videos have just been me doing a little bit of shooting, and then it's just one mag at a time, and that's because the mags haven't been working so far. But everything seems on course, everything seems to be working fine. I think I fixed the issue, and hopefully this helps somebody in the future if they get a GHK and for some reason their mags aren't working. Maybe it can help you in the future. If not, you can drop me a comment. Maybe you have something a little bit different going on. But regardless, the rifle seems to work good. All the mags seem to be working good. I end up spending a little bit more time and effort into it than I probably needed, but that's pretty much going to end this video today. Thank you guys for watching.